Hello boys and girls, and welcome to my preview and predicted lineup for Arsenal's game against Norwich City tomorrow night. And it's a big chance for us to get another 3 points, and it's a big chance for us to keep the momentum going. Won 2 games in a row now, and that was much needed after losing our opening 2 games since returning from the coronavirus pandemic. Norwich, they're sitting bottom of the Premier League, and they're sitting there for a reason, because they've been absolutely awful throughout the course of the campaign. They played some good football, don't get me wrong, and they try and play it the right way, but it just hasn't worked. And they've had some bad luck along the way, and they have had some good results as well. When we went to Carrow Road, we actually couldn't beat them. We drew that game. And you look at it and you think, yeah, it should be a comfortable 3 points, but at the same time you've got to look at it and say you need to be careful, because they do still have an outside chance of survival in the Premier League. I know it's a big outside chance, but they still have it, and whilst there's hope, you can't give up. So Norwich, they're going to come into the game feeling like they've got nothing to lose. Nobody expects them to win. So why don't you just go out there, try and perform and see what happens. They've got some dangerous players. The likes of Cantwell most definitely is someone that we've got to keep an eye on, because he can cause problems, at any time. Scored against Manchester United last time out in the FA Cup. Has caused problems when he went to, Tottenham Stadium in the FA Cup as well. And other teams in the Premier League, he's caused a lot of problems. So we're going to have to watch out for players like him, because on his day, he's very dangerous, and he's most definitely going to want to, prove a point, and to try and put himself in the shop window maybe, because a lot of these players at Norwich, I don't think that they're going to be there, if they get relegated to the Championship. The likes of Max Aarons as well. It's a chance for him to put himself in the shop window and whatnot. So it's one of those games where it should be comfortable, but given the fact that we're Arsenal and some of the messes we've made this season, it might not be as cut and dry as that. So we're going to have to be professional, get the lineup right. And hopefully, the players that do play that were involved against Sheffield United have recovered in time. And we can put a bit of a good performance in, a bit more like that, last 30 minutes or so of the first half against Sheffield United, when we started to look really fluid and the passing and the movement was really good, and that's what I want to see more of. So with that said, let's go and get into the predicted 1 to 11. Starting off in goal, Emi Martinez, and I think this is going to be the one position that's pretty straightforward for the remainder of the season. And he's come in and he's doing really well since Leno's injury. His distribution in particular is catching the eye, and he looks very commanded in the box, very big, like a massive presence there. So yeah, he's doing really well, and no problems with this one at all. Now in the defence, first of all on the right hand side, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, absolutely no doubt about this in any way, shape or form. Now Cedric, he is in the squad, he is available, but given the fact that he's not played for a very, very long time, he was injured before lockdown, and then he's just come back from this facial injury which he picked up in training. I think it would be a bit of a strange one if he actually started the game. If he's looking sharp in training, then so be it. But I just feel that, for this game, he'll probably start on the bench. And if you're going to put someone in that right back position, then it's not Hector Bellerin. Absolutely no chance in any way, shape or form does Hector Bellerin start this game. Ainsley Maitland-Niles for me all day long. Going to move into the centre of defence. And the first person we're going to put in there is Mustafi. And he seems to be the ever-present since we've came back. And he hasn't actually been doing, too bad. There's been a couple of moments where you're like, But then overall, he's actually been performing. And he's the best of a bad bunch, I would probably say. So Mustafi will go in there. No question about that. Alongside him, I'm going to go with Rob Holding. Don't know whether David Luiz is going to be fit for this game. I thought Luiz actually played really well before he came off against Sheffield United. But if he's not there, then Sokratis is clearly, fell well down the pecking order for Mikel Arteta. So the next in line would be Rob Holding. Wasn't too convinced by his performance when he came on against Sheffield United, but I think Norwich play a completely different game to that of Sheffield United. It's a little bit less direct, shall we say. And I'm hoping that Rob Holding, if he plays, can put in the kind of performance that he did against Southampton, because that was a lot better. And against the strikers that he was up against at Southampton, likes of Danny Ings, who's flying this season, that's what I want to see more of. So that's what I'm going to go with. Now, in the left-back position, I'm going to go with Kieran Tierney. And absolutely brilliant against Sheffield United. And I want him to carry on that form. Get a run of games going now. Keep working down that left-hand side, because he causes no end of problems. And I think that he could be a really big weapon, in the latter part of this season and going forward. So Kieran Tierney goes in there. First of all, in the middle of that three, I'm going to go with Granit Xhaka, and justifies his selection and why he's been so important to the team and why he had to come back in. So absolutely no problem with this, no doubt, and he will go in there. In terms of Lucas Torreira, I believe he should be back in the squad, but he's not quite, ready to start a game. A bit like the Cedric situation, came back from an injury before lockdown and everything else. So it's been a long time. And I think, players like Torreira and whatnot need to be eased back in. So Granit Xhaka, like I said. On the right of that three, I'm going to go with Joe Willock, and I felt he had a good 65 minutes or so against Sheffield United. I felt he was more of a threat. And I feel that this game, he could have a big influence, and go at Norwich's midfield and attack their backline, the pace, the energy and everything else. So Joe Willock is what I would go with. Now, on the left of that three, I'm going to go with the young lad Saka, and I've got absolutely no problems with this one at all. He's been ever present, involved in everything, and it's very obvious that, he's enjoying his football at the moment. And while he's doing that, let him go out there and express himself. Let him go out there and just enjoy himself, because he's one of the standout performers. Him playing on that left of the three means that he can, switch over, double up with the likes of Tierney, and that's something that they've been doing so well. And, when we go into that five, he can revert into that area. And, when we attack, he can attack and be dangerous in that sense. So absolutely no problem, and no doubt about this one, I would have Saka there. On the attacking areas now, on the right hand side, Nicola Pepe, and I've got absolutely no doubt about this one whatsoever. His performance was brilliant against Sheffield United, but if you want to see the best of Nicola Pepe, I think it's very evident now that you do not play Hector Bellerin behind him. It's either got to be Cedric or it's got to be Maitland-Niles. It's as simple as that. You want Pepe playing in the final third and attacking the back line, not picking up the ball on the halfway line facing his own goal. Not going to happen. And if Bellerin plays, then that's what ends up happening. But if Maitland-Niles or even Cedric plays, he can play further forward and he can start to do the damage. And yeah, no problem at all with Nicola Pepe going there. Now on the left of that three, I'm going to go with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. And I've got no problem with him going on that left-hand side. I think in his last game, which was against Southampton, and he played on that shoulder, and the amount of times he was put through and those dangerous balls round the corner and over the top for him, he is lethal when he's in that position. So I've got no problem with it, because I think that that is very evident, something they've been working on in training and something that can cause a lot of problems, especially to Norwich. So I would have Aubameyang there, and there's absolutely no doubt. He's had a nice rest as well from the Sheffield United game, so hopefully he's firing, and hopefully he can get his first goal since returning from lockdown. In the middle of that three, this is a bit of a split decision, this one, and I'm actually going to go with Eddie Nketiah. I just don't like the way that Alexandre Lacazette's been playing. It's just not been good enough for me. The ball's not sticking. He's not scoring. Maybe the fact we're at home could convince me to start him, because it's a way that he doesn't score goals. But I think Eddie Nketiah has done all right. And I think even when he came on against Sheffield United, it was another good performance. He done well. The one thing about Eddie is that he needs to be more clinical. When he gets certain chances, like he did against Southampton, when he's one-on-one, you either decide to shoot with your weak foot or you pass to Aubameyang. Don't get caught in two minds. That final piece, that final cutting edge is what he needs to work on with his game. He's a young lad, he's still learning, no problem with that. But, for these games, he should be getting himself on the score sheet and causing no end of problems. So That's what I'm going to go with this one, and that's Eddie Nketiah. So there we go. That is it for my preview and my predicted lineup. As usual, let me know in the comment section what you think of that lineup. Do you think that's a strong enough lineup to beat Norwich? If you don't want to agree with the same lineup, what would you go with? What formation would you do? I think it's pretty evident now what we're starting to do with the formation, so we can start to place the players in the positions accordingly. Of course, I'm going to be on AFTV for the watch along, so keep an eye out for that. There will be a DT's Daily tomorrow morning, and then there will be a DT's Daily on the Thursday morning, and then of course the player ratings, where hopefully I'm smiling, because the thing is as well is that if we win this game, we actually jump above Sheffield United and Spurs, because they don't play till Thursday and they actually play each other. So it's a good chance for us to get a win, and then, you know, put a bit of pressure on the other sides. And, you know, we've got some big games coming up after this Norwich one. And you think we've got the likes of Wolves, we've got the likes of Leicester, we've got the likes of Liverpool, Tottenham. We've got some big games. I think they're our next 4, actually. But I think the only one that I got wrong there in terms of order was the Spurs and Liverpool one. Liverpool's the last out of the 4. But that's absolutely mad when you think of it like that. But big games, man. This is what we're in football for. This is why we love it. So if you're new around here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you smash a like on this video. And I will see you lot soon. I'm out of here.